Here's a harsh reality most men never hear. You can match every item on her checklist: loyal, steady, affectionate, and still not be the man she imagines building a lifetime with. Because women don't commit to comfort, they commit to certainty. And if she isn't showing these 10 behaviors, she's not preparing a future with you. She's simply practicing until the man she truly wants arrives. Stay with me, because once you understand this, you'll finally know whether you're the chosen one or just the role she's using to pass the time. What most men misunderstand is this: emotional access is not emotional commitment. A woman can let you get close enough to enjoy your presence without ever allowing you into the deeper parts of her life. Women operate with intention. They test reliability long before they give trust. They open themselves in layers, and everything they do carries meaning, even if they never say it out loud. So before you assume she's envisioning forever with you, pay attention to what her actions reveal, not what her conversations imply. Behavior is always clearer than promises. The first sign she sees you as husband material is subtle but powerful. She pulls you into her real inner world. Many men assume meeting her friends is some kind of milestone, and they start thinking casual social gatherings automatically lead to permanence. But that's not how women think. Her true inner circle isn't the people she posts selfies with. It's her family, her lifelong confidants, the people whose approval shapes her vision of the future. You only enter that group when she's evaluating how well you blend into the life she's planning. When she brings you to a family dinner, she's not just being polite. She's watching how you respond to the people who raised her. She's noticing whether her father respects you, whether her mother finds you dependable, whether her siblings see you as someone who belongs. It's not a formality. It's a long-term compatibility audit. A woman who doesn't see you as part of her future avoids this stage entirely. She'll claim her family is private, not ready, or too complicated. But in truth, women love showcasing the man they believe will stand beside them for the rest of their life. They instinctively want to know whether your world and theirs can merge. So if months pass and her family still knows nothing about you, it's not a scheduling issue. It's a message. When her parents don't know your name after a year, you're not her future. You're her placeholder. The next sign is hidden in how she treats your time. Every man thinks women crave attention, but a real woman values something deeper. She respects your mission. When she sees you as long-term, she doesn't interrupt your focus. She protects it. She understands that your silence doesn't mean disinterest. It means progress. She honors your discipline instead of competing with it. She becomes a partner in your grind, not a distraction pulling you away from it. The opposite kind can't tolerate moments without validation. If you're not texting, she panics. If you're focused, she feels ignored. She measures love by how available you are, not by the value you bring. That kind of woman isn't building a future. She's trying to soothe her insecurity with your attention. A woman who respects your time, though, believes in the man you're shaping yourself into. She supports the version of you she knows is coming. The third sign is her investment in your growth. There's a noticeable difference between a woman who enjoys your presence and one who believes in your potential. The former is entertained by who you are right now. The latter is emotionally tied to the man you're becoming. When a woman sees you as her future husband, she doesn't sit on the sidelines of your progress. She steps into it. She challenges your comfort zone. She sends resources that make you better. She encourages you to finish what you start, not to control you, but because she refuses to let you settle below your capability. She's not competing with your ambition. She's synchronizing with it. Every reminder, every tough conversation, every push forward is her way of signaling, I'm willing to build my future on your potential. She doesn't nag. She calibrates. Her care comes with purpose. Meanwhile, a woman who sees you as temporary doesn't involve herself at all. She applauds your success when it's convenient, but she never participates in the journey leading to it. She's not invested in your future because she doesn't imagine herself in it. A woman who's truly building with you will safeguard your growth, even when it asks her to stretch beyond her own comfort. She'll stand in the tension with you because she knows the man you're becoming is worth the temporary discomfort. But the woman who's only around for the moment will enjoy the good parts and slip away the second your evolution stops benefiting her. If she isn't contributing to the trajectory you're on, she's already mapping out her exit. And that brings us to something even deeper: the way she absorbs the details of your life. When a woman genuinely cares, she becomes the quiet keeper of your story. Not in some dramatic, over-the-top way, but through little things she tucks away without effort. She remembers the way you like your coffee, that song you played when everything felt heavy, the story about grinding through 3 jobs just to afford your first car. Those pieces may seem tiny, but to her, they're clues about the man she's planning to stand beside. You don't land in her long-term memory by accident. She remembers because she's imagining a life that includes you. Her attention isn't random. Women store what matters. And when she's serious, she doesn't just notice, she applies it. She cooks your favorite meal after a brutal week, brings up your own words when you're doubting yourself, or adjusts plans based on the preferences you barely remember sharing. She's not studying you for sport. She's learning you so she can love you well. Meanwhile, the woman who forgets everything you say isn't forgetful. She's disconnected. She listens to respond, not to understand. When she doesn't remember your schedule, your important days, or the things that shaped you, it's because she doesn't expect to be around long enough to use the information. For a woman who is envisioning marriage, the little things are the architecture of her care. When she drops them, it's not a memory issue, it's emotional distance. Another sign shows up when money enters the picture. Finances reveal priorities, direction, and discipline. And when a woman sees you as the man she'll build a life with, her perspective on money transforms. It stops being just something to enjoy and becomes something to construct with. The dinners and trips still matter, but they're no longer the main focus. What excites her is the structure, the plans, the savings, the investments, the long-term vision tying both of you to something bigger than the moment. She asks about your financial goals not to criticize, but to align herself with your path. She values security over spectacle. She celebrates when you make a responsible choice because she knows stability today becomes peace tomorrow. She's not interested in draining your resources. She wants to expand the future you're building together. There's a sharp contrast between that and the woman who's only here for the lifestyle. She'll spend like tomorrow doesn't matter, choose moments that look expensive but build nothing, and chase appearances rather than outcomes. She wants the image of luxury, even if it leaves both of you empty later. But the woman planning a marriage moves differently. She treats money as ours, not his or hers. She thinks like a partner, not a passenger. She's imagining a legacy, not a highlight reel. And then there's loyalty, the kind that doesn't need an audience. Anyone can look devoted when cameras are out, when friends are watching, or when the world is paying attention. But real loyalty shows itself when no one is keeping score. The woman who sees you as her future doesn't switch her energy the moment the door closes. Her respect stays steady whether she's defending you in public or speaking about you in private. You'll feel it in the way her friends greet you. Warm, respectful, already familiar with the good she's told them. That only happens when she speaks your name with pride. The woman who only performs love can mimic affection in public, but undermine you when the spotlight fades. She'll joke about you to her friends, vent behind your back, and then pretend everything is perfect beside you. That isn't loyalty, it's performance. A woman committed to the long haul knows that protecting your image protects the foundation you're both standing on. If her friends disrespect you easily, it's because she opened that door for them. And finally, she begins to reshape her life so the two of you can move in the same direction. Change isn't easy, and no one rearranges their world unless they see a future worth adjusting for. When a woman is serious, you'll notice the subtle shifts first. She starts syncing her schedule with yours. She trims habits or routines that clash with what you're building. She chooses collaboration over chaos. Maybe she trades constant nights out for quieter time with you. Or she moves closer because distance no longer makes sense. Or she adapts her career path so your futures can meet instead of drift apart. She's not losing herself. She's aligning her life with yours by choice. Those kinds of shifts are subtle, but they reveal long-term intention. She isn't dissolving her identity or sacrificing the life she had. She's reshaping her world so it can grow beside yours, creating a rhythm where both of you can rise without either one breaking. That's what real partnership feels like. Two people bending toward a shared horizon, not collapsing under each other. But don't mistake her adaptation for control. The wrong woman changes everything in order to manipulate the dynamic, twisting the relationship so she holds the power. The right woman adjusts because she respects the direction you're both moving in. She's preparing the space that the future version of you two will need. When she starts thinking in terms of we, the architecture of her life begins to reflect it. And here's the truth a lot of men overlook. If her routines never shift, if she continues living as though she's entirely unattached, same patterns, same impulses, same decisions made without a second thought about you, she's not building her life with you in mind. She's keeping her doors open. Love without change is just performance. If nothing in her world moves to make room for you, she's not planning to stay. That's why the next sign carries so much weight, the way she prioritizes you. Every woman has a hierarchy: her ambitions, her friendships, her downtime, her online world, her personal goals, and somewhere on that list is you. Where she places you reveals the truth. A woman genuinely committed to a future with you doesn't only say you matter, she behaves like you do. She doesn't need to cancel her obligations or revolve around you, but you feel your presence in how she arranges her life. She makes time. She doesn't manufacture excuses. When she's invested, she checks in before big decisions. She considers your feelings before she commits to something major. She chooses meaningful moments with you over another night chasing noise. You'll notice you get her best energy, not whatever scraps are left after everyone else has taken their share. Her consistency makes your place clear. You're not a gap in her schedule. You're part of her structure. But when she doesn't see you as permanent, the contrast becomes obvious fast. You turn into the backup plan, the optional moment, the maybe later she throws out when it's convenient. She'll stay vague, cancel abruptly, and leave you wondering where you stand. You won't need to ask. Her patterns already tell the story. When her heart is split, her calendar exposes it. Prioritizing you isn't obsession, it's intention. It's her choosing closeness over comfort. If she always puts you last, that's exactly where she plans to keep you. Another sign hides in the way she speaks about tomorrow. Listen to her language. When a woman imagines a life with you, her words shift naturally. The sentences that used to revolve around I start transforming into we. It's no longer my place. It becomes our home. It's not I want to go. It becomes we should. Those tiny changes are quiet indicators of attachment, unconscious proof that she sees her future intertwined with yours. Her future talk expands without effort. Trips, plans, long-term dreams, even the kind of life she imagines years from now. She frames them as something you'll experience together. She's not forcing commitment. She's rehearsing the life she already sees unfolding. But the woman who talks only about her ambitions, her timeline, her goals, isn't being independent. She's creating distance. She's mapping out a future that never needed your presence to begin with. And the one who avoids future talk altogether isn't confused. She simply doesn't see you in the picture. When she effortlessly includes you in her dreams, it means she's already placed you there. But if her story always sounds like a solo script, you're not her partner. You're a temporary character she'll move past when the chapter ends. Avoiding the future is just avoiding you. And finally, pay attention to how she treats your name. A woman who truly sees you as the man she'll walk through life with doesn't just care about you, she protects the way the world sees you. In her eyes, your reputation is tied to hers, and she guards it with quiet strength. When people talk about you, she listens with intention, not to defend pride, but to protect the integrity of what you're building. She won't let others drag you through the dirt while she stands silent. That isn't drama. That's devotion matured into honor. You'll notice it in the small things. When her friends drift into gossip, she steers the conversation. When family questions your ambition, she highlights your effort instead of your flaws. She refuses to throw your vulnerabilities into the public for entertainment. She shields them because she understands that respect is the backbone of every lasting bond. But the woman who doesn't see a future with you will carelessly expose your weaknesses, vent about you to anyone willing to listen, and allow others to speak poorly about you without defense. That's not emotional release. That's the slow dismantling of your name. When she's letting the world chip away at you, she's already detaching from the life you thought you were building. A mature woman knows that protecting your reputation is part of protecting the relationship itself. It's not submission, it's unity. When she guards your name with intention, it's because she already imagines sharing it. And once you understand that kind of intention, everything that follows becomes clearer. Because every man gets loved at some stage of his life, but only a few are chosen for the chapters that actually last. Love on its own isn't a contract. It isn't a promise. It isn't a forecast of forever. What determines a woman's long-term direction is how she behaves when the thrill settles and reality steps in. It's revealed in how she folds you into the structure of her world, how she honors your mission, how she builds next to you without competing, how she protects your name when you're not in the room, and how she prepares her life to align with yours without erasing her identity. If you've experienced even half of those signals, understand their weight. Those aren't casual gestures. They're signs of a woman who's emotionally stable enough to create, not just consume. But if you've been running after someone who does none of this, who hides you from her circle, who drains your attention, who ridicules your ambitions, or who forgets your presence the moment you stop performing, then you already know the truth you've been avoiding. You were never part of her long-term equation. You were the intermission in her journey of personal evolution. And this shouldn't make you resentful. It should wake you up. Because the kind of woman who carries all 10 qualities doesn't give them to a man drifting through life. She places them in the hands of someone whose presence commands respect, whose energy speaks purpose, whose path is bigger than comfort. If you aren't living like that man yet, become him. Not to earn her, not to impress anyone, but to attract a version of life that never appears to the undecided, the unfocused, the easily distracted. Stop chasing validation. Stop begging for attention. Build yourself into the kind of man whose clarity makes loyalty effortless, whose discipline makes respect automatic, and whose direction makes commitment natural. Women trust the man who knows where he's going. They follow the one whose actions reveal progress, not potential. They invest in the one who's already becoming the future he talks about. And when you become that man, you'll finally understand why a woman who cares starts modifying her world without being asked. When she's serious about you, the adjustments begin quietly. She edits her routine so your paths run smoother. She turns certain choices over in her mind and asks herself how they affect the two of you, not just her alone. She doesn't abandon her independence. She simply aligns her life with yours in ways that strengthen the bond instead of stretching it thin. Maybe she turns down constant nights out because she wants something deeper than noise. Maybe she shifts her schedule so she can see you without rushing. Maybe she reconsiders long-term plans because she sees a future worth recalibrating for. These aren't sacrifices. These are signals. Signs of a woman envisioning us instead of me. But there's a difference between adaptation and manipulation. The wrong woman changes her world so she can control the dynamic. The right woman adjusts, out of respect for the direction the relationship is heading. When she imagines something lasting, her life begins to subtly reflect that vision. And the absence of these changes speaks even louder. If nothing in her lifestyle evolves, if she continues moving as though she owes nothing to the future, then she's not building toward you, she's maintaining distance. Love without adjustment is theater. If her routines never shift, neither will her intentions. And that's where priorities expose everything. Every woman structures her time around the things and people that matter. When you're important long-term, you feel it in her effort, her presence, the way she chooses you without needing to announce it. She doesn't rearrange her entire world, but she makes sure you're part of it deliberately. She checks with you before big decisions because she respects the partnership. She chooses quality moments with you because intimacy grows through presence, not promises. When you're temporary, the opposite is obvious. Cancellations, excuses, distance, uncertainty. You never need to guess your place. Her actions narrate it for you. And nothing confirms her true intentions more than how she speaks about tomorrow. When a woman sees you in her long-term vision, her language shifts naturally. It becomes softer, wider, shared. Not I and mine, but we and ours. Those linguistic shifts are emotional evidence, proof that she isn't imagining a future alone. She's mentally rehearsing the life she hopes the two of you will eventually build, not through fantasies or fleeting excitement, but through the quiet way she pictures choices instead of moments. That's the mark of a woman who's anchored, not impulsive. Someone whose emotions aren't tied to the rush of the present, but to the stability of what comes next. And once you recognize that, you also learn to see the opposite with equal clarity. When she only talks about her journey, her deadlines, her aspirations, and her next moves without ever placing you anywhere in that vision, it's not a sign of independence. It's distance wearing the disguise of ambition. She's arranging a future in which your presence isn't required, and she's doing it so subtly that it feels normal until you step back and look at the pattern. And when she avoids future talk altogether, when she dodges every question about where things are heading, understand this. It isn't uncertainty. It's certainty she doesn't want to speak out loud. A woman's words often reveal what her emotions have already decided. When she naturally includes you in her long-term thinking without you prompting her, that's because she has already made space for you in the story she's writing. But when everything she says feels like a solo script, no shared dreams, no joint plans, no sense that you belong in the chapters ahead, then you're not the partner she's building with. You're the pause she'll move past once she outgrows the moment. If she avoids the future, she's avoiding you. And this becomes even clearer when you look at how she protects your reputation. A woman who truly sees you as her long-term man doesn't just love you when it's easy. She safeguards your name as though it carries her legacy too. In her mind, who you are reflects on who she is, So she pays attention when others speak about you, not out of insecurity, but out of loyalty. She won't sit quietly while people tear you down. She won't let gossip dilute the truth. She listens to honor you, and she responds to preserve the dignity of the bond she's choosing. You'll notice it through the smallest gestures. When her friends drift into petty conversations, she shifts the direction. When her family questions your ambition, she reminds them what you're building, not what you lack. She doesn't turn your vulnerable moments into entertainment. She doesn't use your fears as leverage in conflict. She shields what you reveal because she understands that protecting your weaknesses is part of protecting the relationship itself. But when a woman doesn't see a future with you, her behavior is the opposite. She'll complain openly, involve outsiders in private issues, expose things you shared in confidence, and allow disrespect to echo around her without stepping in. That isn't expression, it's withdrawal. It's her quiet way of detaching from anything that ties her to you. A woman who loves you short-term vents. A woman who sees you long-term defends. And the truth is simple. A woman who guards your name already imagines carrying it. Yet even deeper than that is this final reality most men learn too late. Every man gets affection at some point, but only a rare few get chosen for the life that follows. Love doesn't guarantee longevity. What determines forever is how she behaves when the excitement softens and the real work begins. How she merges you into her world, supports your mission, matches your effort, honors your character, and subtly reshapes her life to stand beside yours without dissolving who she is. If you've witnessed those signs, don't overlook their value. They're not common. They're not casual. They're not given to just anyone. But if you've been pursuing someone who offers none of this, someone who hides you, drains your mind, rejects your goals, or forgets your worth the moment you stop performing, then you already know your role. You weren't her future. You were her transition. And at that point, the real question isn't about her, it's about you. Because a woman capable of loving with that depth and loyalty will only choose a man whose path commands respect. If you're not that man yet, become him, not to win her back, but to build the kind of life only men of purpose ever reach. Women trust direction, not charm. They commit to momentum, not potential. If you want a woman who builds forever, make sure you're living like a man worth building with.